All right. We will come to order at 4:58 p.m. Let's introduce ourselves.
Scott Morley, Select Board.
Gary Keeman, Select Board.
Dan Webster, Select Board.
Maxwell, Town Administrator, start in the back row with Phil.
Bill Marquette, Andy. Daniel Rondo, resident. Israel Sandra. Constable.
Middle row.
Jeff Wilson, resident. Trevor Cleveland, King and Ground.
Chris Roy, resident in Newport Daily.
Thank you, everybody. All right, we got one thing to add tonight. We got the Orleans County Sheriff's contract late this afternoon, and this will be our last June meeting, so the new contract goes into effect July 1st, so we can get this out of the way tonight, that would be good. Public comment?
Yes, I just wanted to make sure you knew that this is Mike and Sue Bernier on the call.
Yep, go ahead.
Yep, so we're on the call. We live on Pine Hill.
They actually, I guess there's a lot of speeding on Pine Hill.
Oh.
So if we can do the speeding, and I don't know if anything became on Nettle Park Road. We add those.
Just ask the, or you just want me to ask the sheriffs to do more?
I don't know if we want to do more money or
Are we discussing that one right now?
we can add either or.
Hi Sue,
Hi.
what you got going on?
I mean, you can't take any action under public comment.
Well,
You can listen to what she has to say, but you can't do anything.
Well, that's why I didn't know if we wanted to put another under business, that and Nettle Park Road.
You can, but I didn't warn it, so.
That's
What you got, Sue?
yeah, just, ever since, even before we had it paved, it's like a racetrack, and now it's, it's automatic 50 miles an hour if you're lucky. Walking, nobody cares. Accident out in front of the house probably 3 weeks ago. Somebody went off the road, said a dog ran out in front of them. Well, there's no loose dogs in this area. So yeah, it's just getting really old. And, I called and left a message with the sheriff last week. Something's got to happen. Do we need the speed bumps like they have on the West Road in Derby? It's ridiculous. So I don't know what you have for a budget with the sheriff, but I don't see any white cars on this road besides my own.
Okay, well, Matt, do what you do and, let them know that that's a hot spot. And, we've still got.
I've called multiple times, so I really hope. I've called the town. I've spoken with Matt. I've spoken with Debbie a couple times over the last year, and so I really am hoping that something can happen.
I can look back at the reports, but I'm pretty sure I've seen quite a few stops on that road in our reports.
I'd love to get a copy of it then.
Yeah. So we can look at that, but we're gonna be looking at some point, not too far away at all of our speed ordinances, right? That's something that we've talked about.
And I've talked to one of the deputies about it too, and he gave me a plug and play. And when they contacted me, I did a lot of plug-in yesterday.
What's a plug and
And
play?
they actually
Just
asked.
fill in the
to make some
blanks.
Changes to that
Okay.
ordinance a few years ago, but we didn't like changes.
We didn't like what they were proposing at the time, but
Right.
we never.
And this is really just every road, what the speed limit is. So you have a list, 50, 35, 25, stop signs, and I'll send you what he sent me.
Yeah, I mean, we should task ourselves at some point to do it as a bigger project. I mean, we all know that that's not gonna fix it, right?
Once people
I mean,
know that the speed limits are gonna, they're gonna be there, but
From
Who knows?
before, when we were here talking about the ordinance, it was like they couldn't give them a ticket.
yes, right now they can't because there's not an ordinance.
Huh. So there's posted speed limits, but they can't give out a ticket because
No,
why?
Yes, that's not true.
Yeah, we have speed limit.
That's what they were saying. And
I don't know if it's up to their court standards or whatever, but
Yeah.
we definitely have some ordinance.
If this road is 35 miles an hour and they're doing 50, they're going to get a ticket or not?
Well, I can't speak for the police, but
Right.
we can look back and see, let's look at maybe the last 4 or 5 months, Matt. And see, I haven't looked at it the last month or two, where the enforcements are drawn mostly. But I know that I've seen a lot of Pine Hill over the course of
Can
the year.
Can I get a copy of that?
Sure.
Great.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
other thing to bring up, and I had called Debbie about this. There's a junk trailer that's across the street from Mike Rogers' parents' house. They've torn up the road terribly. Debbie had said she was going to have the road crew go check it out. And then also, I don't know where they're going to the bathroom. So she said she was also going to send Pedro. So I was wondering if there's any resolution on that.
I don't know about the Pedro piece, do you? Is Deb with us?
I sent out the email when I had CC'd several of you in regards to several different issues that's happening at that location. Pedro was one that was issued, and he has not responded back to the email as of yet.
I think they've got three
Pine Hill.
dogs.
Briars on the left.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Sue.
I was just going to say, they've got 3 dogs. I don't know, just it's terrible. Yeah, I don't want to be that person, but it's they've got it, and they've got generators running 24/7.
Yeah, I visited the property myself twice. I know exactly what you're talking about. Deb did a good job in trying to coordinate us all, identifying a number of different issues, which would fit on the plate of certain different town officials. I will, Matt, you and I'll talk more about that in the next day or two, and well, thank you, Deb, for starting that, and
Yeah.
we'll take what you worked on and put some pressure on it. It's a mess.
All right.
You're right, Sue.
All right. I really appreciate you letting me chit chat with you, and Debbie, thank you for following up on that. And great.
Yep.
You're very welcome, Sue.
Okay.
Thanks, Sue.
Thank you.
You've got my mailing address, right, to send me the records on the enforcement.
We do.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Debbie. Thanks, Scott.
Yep. You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, Coventry Station Road, go ahead, Tyler.
Hey, everybody. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, here you good.
All right. I texted with Scott Goodhue today, and they have grays scheduled up for next week for final prep, grading, paving, shoulders. It should be, it'll be a day of paving and a day of cleanup work. It's not a tremendous amount tonnage-wise or complexity, so should be a couple days of work, and that will be the last, I believe, the last bit of scope work under contract.
Have you been out to the site, Tyler, in the last little bit?
Not since, I was probably out there in early May, mid-May. It's probably been a month, something like that.
Okay, it held up real well this spring.
Good. Yeah, that's what I heard. When I drove over it, it seemed like it held up well. The main reason we did it this way, and I talked to Matt about it last year, is just with that much earthwork, that much cut and fill, paving it right off last fall, maybe it would have held up well, but with that much cut and fill, and even with compactors and rollers, it's just Mother Nature and a season of frost and traffic just pack it down that much more. So I know it was wanting to get it done, and I'm glad we kind of took the patient approach and split it over a winter season. But yeah, Scott should have it done. Goodhue should have it done next week.
You know if there'll be road closures or if they'll just do one lane?
I believe it has to be done in lanes rather than reclose it and redetour it. So it'll be delays with flaggers and getting out and around, but he'll submit the final invoice soon after that. Pavement's done in tonnage by tonnage, so when we get the final tonnage in, he'll have one final invoice, and then you guys should be good to submit everything to FEMA and close out that FEMA process. Hopefully get all as much money out of FEMA as you can for that stretch.
Excellent. It's been a good project.
Yeah, happy to hear so. And yeah, I'll be once Scott gives me a final day, I'll be up there and making sure it goes down well. And we got a couple lifts in there, so yeah, should be a nice stretch though.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks,
Good,
Tyler.
All right, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Scott, that's for pavement or repaving?
That's the Coventry Station Road FEMA project, where they rebuilt the banks and all the new guardrails, where River Road intersects Coventry Station. It's that project. So
Right,
they're just paving it, new pavement now.
so it's paved, but to be repaved, is that?
No, it's not
it's
paved.
gravel right now.
It's gravel.
It was paved.
So the town, so who's gonna do the work? Tal, by the way, this is Chris Roy from Newport Daily. So who's gonna do the work? What's the first?
Grace,
Matt, go through it for him.
Grace paving.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Chris, call me in the morning. I'll tell you all about it.
It's a FEMA project. Grays is gonna do the paving.
We've gone over it about 100 times.
Yeah, through the contract. It's a good view. But yeah, we can get you all that detail.
All right, townwide reappraisal. You got a letter there from the state of Vermont that needs to be responded to.
Did you ever get a chance to talk to Matt?
I mean, he's aware of this, but
Right.
he didn't say anything, or I think if you guys want him to respond to that, he will.
Well, he's going to certainly be involved in the communication.
Right.
This is essentially saying we're in receipt of it.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's not really an option.
No.
Yeah. So I
And then
think,
how fast we have to have the reappraisal done, because they're booked way out, so I don't know how many firms.
Right, I mean, we don't have to use them to do it.
Mhm.
We can hire somebody else, right?
we'll go out to bid.
Yeah.
It's a big project, so don't know who will get it. So we should do this tonight, because we are supposed to.
Yep.
And then we need to communicate with Matt. See what he's thinking. And then we probably need to have a discussion in our 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now.
I think it's like 3 months. We got a pretty good stretch from July 7th is the next meeting.
Yeah, so maybe for that meeting, we could be ready to have a discussion about the technicalities of that and the scope of the work and the bid process that we want to engage in. and
Maybe
all that.
Matt can zoom in. Matt may be able to join us.
Yep. All right, so this would be. Did you guys read this?
Mhm.
So you're probably gonna have to
Motion
note that out.
to have Matt, make a motion to have Matt for Jessica, the town assessor, reply to the
No,
letter. No,
No,
What was it who we signed last meeting? Was it the same? About a reappraisal?
we didn't sign,
Can't remember.
or their designee.
yeah, no.
So you signing it?
Yeah.
So make a motion to approve the Coventry municipal response to reappraisal order.
Second.
Good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Everybody can bring up this extension.
Oh, that's right, yeah, that was.
Okay, yeah.
Great cows. Next up, we have the crushed gravel contract.
This gentleman's
So
more.
this one,
Yeah.
yeah, so this, and I kind of screwed up on, well, I didn't, I kind of screwed up on this one, but I didn't, I don't think it's too bad. The original bid from Manchester Brook Materials did not include a price for stripping.
Mhm.
So I had to go back to them, and when I went back to them, it wasn't really fair not to go back to the other guys.
Mhm.
So they've now come down, Kingdom has come down to $6.25 per cubic yard. Manchester Brook Materials is $6.47 per yard. Stripping for Kingdom is $6,500. Stripping for Manchester Brook is $48.50. So they're pretty much even. There's about a $500 difference between the two now in favor of Kingdom.
How many yards was it? Like
10,000.
10,000?
And Kingdom's familiar with it. You guys did it last year.
They're the local guys, and they're the ones that have done it
Yeah.
last few years. No, not that there's anything wrong with,
Yeah.
I don't know who they, they're from Rygate, I
Yeah.
don't know. It's nice.
I think I'm happy to have Kingdom do it.
Mhm.
What's a yard bought at your pick if we were to buy it?
If you're buying stay mat, a 3/4 stay mat, we sell like a ton. So in Barton, we're $14.25 a ton. It worked out to be about $19 a yard.
Yeah.
Sheffield is about $18 a yard.
Yeah.
Now, it's a ledge product, it's a little bit different than a gravel product.
Right,
I think a lot of your local gravel pits are still around $14 a yard for gravel.
so it's half. Doing
Yeah.
it, doing it ourselves, putting a pile up.
Yeah, it's definitely well worth it.
Yeah.
Your pit is it's a little bit sandier material, so you really need to keep harvesting your sands.
Right.
You take the stone out of your sand.
Yeah.
And then you mix it back into your gravels, your gravels a little bit better.
We originally thought we would do that again this year, but we've got quite a pile still. And so we're gonna just process the crush this year and we like that we've kind of got both products right there. So
Right.
if we do it right, we should work out.
Yeah, if you keep bouncing back and forth, if you do the gravel this year and sand next year for 2 years, the following year, you should be able to do gravel again.
Right.
You know, have you harvest those tailings out of it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with it. You
Mhm.
guys are.
Yeah, that's fine.
Make a motion to accept Kingdom Gravel and Aggregates bid for $6.25 per cubic yard and $6,500 for stripping.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wait,
Thanks for coming.
you can sign that and give it to them. Hold on.
You want me to,
Yeah, just email me if. Okay. I'll do that tomorrow.
Let's see what you're doing.
Left it for you.
Confuse me, Carrie.
It's not hard. Just kidding.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
You too.
Doing good so far, Matt.
Yep, really good base here. All right, town accountant. The goal would be to have her for an interview next week, next Monday, if everybody's good.
That works.
Yep.
I'm good with it.
Okay.
So. Have we already scheduled that?
We gotta decide on the time.
Tentatively I did, but,
I mean,
Yeah.
we already scheduled our meeting for next week?
well, I haven't warned it yet.
Okay,
Everybody's agreed to be here next week at the time. The road guys will be here at 4 and then. Melanie-
I can't be here I can't be here for 4.
You can't be here at 4. Okay, so we'll have to do something different then.
what's that mean? What's different?
I have to talk to those guys, I'll have to talk to those guys in the morning and see. See what
Okay.
they can do, because they couldn't be, a couple of them couldn't be here late on Monday for some reason. They already had other commitments going on, so it had to be early for them. Want to do it that day.
Mhm.
See what they can do and then
Yep.
if I can do anything.
Talk to Nathan.
Yes,
But there was no, you guys had no reservations on bringing her in for an interview. That's basically what
Yeah.
we need. Yeah. Okay. good.
did you make contact?
I had a short conversation. She had another commitment, but yeah, I
Oh.
talked to her a little bit and went well.
Good,
She had good information. So
Yeah.
we'll see when we talk to her.
okay, and you
Same
did,
with me,
Mm.
seemed to know a lot about it, had been in with towns, was familiar with how towns worked, ran.
Yeah.
Seemed very comfortable with it.
okay, and I know Matt, you've talked to her, so we've all reached out individually now, so it's. A good idea.
Yep.
So.
It's
We'll
gonna be a good fit.
zoom in and we'll have a conversation and
Right.
go from there,
Yeah, yeah, and if the other, I mean, we can still do that Monday at 5 and
right,
do the other guys and let you know, it doesn't matter.
right,
That doesn't-
okay.
Okay. Good, next up is the Westview Investment Account Information, and that is that folder right there on your desk.
So this is all of what we had in front of us last meeting.
So did they make any adjustments to any of it?
No.
No, okay.
What they did was explain it to us better.
Wasn't it just some questions that we had?
Yeah, Dave thought they had more authority than they should have, so I don't know how they explained that.
So without really speaking for Dave, maybe you can, David reached out and talked with them Friday.
Yes, he did.
Can you tell us anything about that, Matt?
Just that he cleared up all his, any kind of objections he might have had, were all cleared up by Westview after speaking to him, and David signed the document that he was required to sign, so he's done his
That's what I was
job.
looking for right
Good.
here. So Matt and I sat with them when we went through, it looks like a couple of these sticky notes have been maybe moved a little bit here. Matt,
Yeah, that folder's been rifled through quite a bit the last.
but I did have this organized.
Yeah.
So,
They should all be there, but.
so we sat down and essentially said, talk to us really slow. And explain each one of the forms and who's signing what and why we're signing it, and any feedback that we had, we provided them. For clarity's sake. And what we discovered essentially was one of these forms is. There's a requirement for the current town treasurer to sign because. Within the current Fidelity contracts that we have with Catamount, David has been the town's authorized agent. So this page, which David has now signed, is removing that authorization. The authorization, like what we've talked about, is the select board's authorization, not any other person. So the select board's authority is for contracts and these types of things, account issues. So David did have a number of those questions. He called them and talked with them and has signed it and stated he was fine, right, Matt? And without making any adjustments?
Nope.
Okay. I did talk with David on Friday on the phone. about this, and he and I apparently agree now. So that's what that was. So essentially what we've all talked about. We've talked about with David, we've talked about with the attorney, we've talked about with Westview is just that saying it one more time. The town of Coventry is the owner, right? We're the agents of that. The select board is the agents of that. So the forms that we have here for us now to look at and sign are that. So the two other pieces is, we're gonna see them here in a minute, there's one signature or two, or form or two that require just one, like the one we just did, it always says the chair of the
Mhm.
committee. There's one of those, and there's another piece that we talked about, I don't believe it's here, but it's gonna come to Matt in a different format, is who they're gonna communicate with. So when, for instance, we just had a town meeting that voted for $500,000 to be moved. So we're gonna go through our process like we always, or we have in the past, and we're gonna continue, is take a vote on that, on how we do that. And then we're going to direct the town administrator to effectuate that with the treasurer. So Matt will communicate with Westview, he'll provide them with minutes from our meeting that show that there was the municipal executive body authorizes it. Totally clean process. And so that's how they want to communicate. And that's how I think we should communicate. Is that about right? Did I say that correctly? All right. The other piece to that is I talked with Brian Monahan this morning on this because there's a lot of legal issues here. And let him know everything that we've done, where we're at, that we've made the selection of Westview, that we've met with them, that we're involved now with the signatures on the documents. And what I have asked him to do, Matt's provided him with all of this packet, Brian. So what I've asked Brian to do is review all of our work prior to Matt sending it to Westview. So tonight, we can go through the signature piece of it, knowing that it's still locally and in-house. And Brian will communicate back, he thought Wednesday or Thursday with Matt, but we'll have done our piece. So unless he sees something, he'll give us direction one way or the other.
Yeah.
He's been involved, he was here with us the day that we interviewed them, so he's already done a lot of the work.
Mhm.
And Matt, you sent that to him today.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's got it.
All right. So is there any questions on all that?
Nope.
Before we get into like the
No,
weeds
just,
of it?
no,
Clear
just
it up.
as we go to them, explain what we're signing.
Okay,
Yeah, just what they said to you, but that's it.
all right. Well, that's a big order. That's a tall order. And Matt, you've moved a couple of these signatures.
I didn't move anything.
Okay. Well, somebody did on that one. Okay, so this is an all select board. All select boards must sign and initial each page. So what is this? So this is a policy statement.
Mhm.
So there's some legal jargon in there, but essentially it's the policy of, remember when we met with them with the 60-40 split, the stocks, the bonds, how they review that, how they're gonna set those investments up, knowing that it's a fluid, it's a fluid issue. So that's what this is. This is the policy of how they'll manage that money for you. So we are to initial each of the pages. And they will also, and then at the end, there's full board
Mhm.
signature with Westview. So this one's pretty straight.
So these are the same ones we had before, nothing's changed?
Nothing's changed,
Mhm.
no.
Yeah, same ones.
So are you good, are you
Mhm.
okay with that one? So you wanna do them each singularly?
You mean make the motion?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, don't make a motion to accept the investment policy statement prepared by Westview Investment Advisors.
Second.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Okay. Good,
16.
Okay, so while you do that, I can get thinking on the next one.
Who's the other recorder? There's two recorders.
I think, well, they're both Chris's, right? Chris was both yours.
Both recorders.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's got two.
sorry.
He does.
No problem.
You did.
Why not three?
Somebody else snuck one up there.
Chris, you know it goes on YouTube, right?
With that, yeah, I know, but
Chris is, he's old school. He likes doing that.
Well, they aren't taped, so that's a good thing.
but that said, I trust. When it comes to my job, I trust myself only. No offense.
No, that makes sense. Makes perfect sense.
I don't expect other people to do my job, so
Right.
assuming that's gonna be on YouTube is a bad assumption on my part.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
things no function.
Mhm.
That's why I have two.
Okay, so the next one is a new client packet. So going back to, we, the select board being the duly authorized agents. And we talked a lot about that, David and I talked about that, Matt and I have exhaustively, which is, we always have to maintain the mindset that this is a positional issue, right? It's not a Matt Maxwell or a Dan Webster, it's a positional issue. So the select board is the agent, is for the town, and so this new client packet. Puts you on the hook. And so that's all it is. So I think for tonight, we could, say we're gonna do that, and maybe you can stay after a few minutes and put in all your
Mhm.
personal information there that's necessary. And Matt, you're gonna have to fill out the other piece that they talked about on the backside of the paper, which is just a little bit of a questionnaire on the town. So that's as easy as that one is.
So this is employers outside of the town, or are we supposed to write the town in there? Not for employment information.
It's.
I know.
It's not gonna
I
matter.
didn't think you need to put that in.
It's not. gonna
That's probably just their standard.
And I don't
They
think they need your social security numbers either.
They want your contacts and,
Yeah.
that there's people.
Yeah.
Just name and phone number, yeah.
If they want more, just let us know.
Yeah. They-
So we'll do that. After the meeting, we talked about the 3 accounts. Remember that we currently have 3 accounts with Fidelity.
Mhm.
One of them is the large cash account, which is, I lose track of it, 1.2 million right now.
Something like that.
And we talked about what the best maneuver was for us if we should bring that back to the town so that it doesn't get caught up per se in fees. their policy at Westview is they do not charge any management fees on cash accounts. So there is no fee to that. So, that's a good thing. So we're probably
Yeah.
gonna just have that slide over and David, as we use money from there for the long-term investment or the paving or however we do it, we can just draw it back and there's no expense to that. So this is the investment advisor's discretionary investment management and financial planning. It's essentially the cost fees that we've talked about. And so it calls for all of our signatures and on the back. This is the chair. That's the fee structure one. So that one is gonna need a motion.
Make a motion to accept the Westview Investment Advisors discretionary investment management and financial planning document.
Second.
Favor?
I,
You trying to keep these in order? You want these just?
So I don't need them in order. I just wanna make sure what we're. What's,
that's what we
These are
just signed, the ones we
ones we-
signed.
those are signed and gone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that one's signed and gone.
So we're removing David and we put in,
That was this one.
Yeah, so leave that there. This we're gonna do after. We did the policy statement already.
mhm,
Didn't we already do the policy statement?
We did.
One we just did, right?
got a duplicate.
It's a duplicate.
Let's see that over there.
That's all the signatures we got, Matt. Now, Matt, you're
I'll make
gonna
that
have to
stamp.
do some of these tasks.
Right, like the survey questions there.
The survey questions, talk to Rick, no, not Rick, what's his
Ryan.
name?
No,
Talk to Westview on the phone.
Yeah.
You have the, an IN number you need to put in, so you have to do that. You have to do the date and the town of Coventry and all of that on this one here.
Okay.
And you're gonna be receiving, as they mentioned before, some documents showing mechanically how they wanna operate.
Yep.
Um,
But I'm not sending these until I hear from.
Nothing is being sent until we hear from Brian, legally speaking.
Yes.
And,
We have to add a contact person. Is that you?
excuse me,
We have to add if we're taking David off, or is it they need a contact person here?
so the contact person is gonna be Matt, just as contacts go, that's what
Just
we're.
pass
Yeah,
along.
that's what we're
information.
talking
Yep.
about.
Okay.
The authority comes from the board, so we'll make the decisions just like we do. Matt will communicate that and he'll show them the minutes, the decisions, and David, I'm sure, or the treasurer, I'm sure will also, help us with those things. That all together. This, we can do that after.
That wasn't Sam.
thanks for going, Scott.
Yeah, thank you,
Thank you,
Matt.
Matt.
So. that make a little more sense?
Mhm.
A little slower, a little about what we're doing, and it was all good news. They were very helpful.
They were, yeah.
And David had a good conversation, obviously, with him Friday, so that's good. All right,
I have a question. Go ahead, if it's okay. Talk about the town investment, the cemetery commission has their own investment. Does that encompass any of this?
yes,
It's in the big account.
Okay.
Yeah, your money, the cemetery money's in with the big, long-term, our big long-term money.
Okay.
so,
At Fidelity.
yeah, we actually talked about that with them, whenever we were there a few days ago.
Right, because it has its own rules it has to follow for.
Yep.
Where it needs to be and.
Yeah.
How to keep it separate.
So it's currently separated in Fidelity. It's in the same account, but it's invested in an asset only by itself.
Okay.
And so we talked about that. I believe that we should ask the cemetery commission either to come to this meeting or we go to your meeting and have that discussion, and probably getting ahead of my skis maybe, but probably get a separate account for that. So it's more clear and
Yep.
clean. That's my thinking. I would like to hear that from an accountant. And that's part of our conversation that we've been having tonight. Next Monday, we're gonna be having an interview with a municipal accountant.
Right.
And those are the types of things that we're really looking for some help professionally guide us on how to do that. But right now it is separate in the fund that it's containing in, and Westview knows about it
Okay.
and sees it. And it's just, so they're both Fidelity. It's currently, all of that money is in a Fidelity account.
One security.
Yeah.
Right.
The
One mutual fund.
one mutual fund, the Westview company that we're going with are also Fidelity people, so it's an easy transition over, and they it's not like apples and oranges.
Sure.
So I don't see a mix up going on.
Okay.
But very shortly, I would think we should have that discussion with cemetery.
I agree.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. I don't know what the amount was. I can't remember that.
Like a few hundred thousand.
That sounds about right. Significant money.
Until you start using it, and it goes quick.
Yep.
Okay, next up, we have the wage and salary sheet. This is gonna go into effect July 1st, 2025.
So this is an annual event
This is an annual event. Yep.
that Matt and David prepare for us,
Yep.
which incorporates the cost of living adjustment that comes into effect July 1
Mhm.
on our new fiscal year.
Yep.
Which we never really know what it's gonna be when we create our budget,
Mhm.
but we generally kind of know.
Right.
Just by history
Yeah.
standards.
Yep.
And David has always helped us
Yep.
formulate that
He
part of our
researches
budget.
that, and yeah,
Yeah.
I think he goes by the state standard.
Yeah. And so this is incorporating that.
Yep.
And it's an annual. Did you see anything, Matt, when you looked over it that made you go, what is this?
No, I didn't, but
Is there an assistant treasurer? There's,
there's not an assistant treasurer, is there?
Not that I'm aware of.
no, okay, that's that one went down.
Yeah,
We still budget for it because
we do.
David can
Mhm.
fill that position if he chooses to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Looks, I mean, that's.
Mhm.
What it is
Yeah,
It
today.
is, yeah. And then after interviews or whatever, performance,
Right, you could give,
Yeah.
you can still give.
you can give
people
raises.
raises if you
Yeah.
want.
Mhm.
If you're good with it,
Mhm.
motion away.
Motion to approve the 2026 wage and salary approval for the town of Coventry.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's a 3.8% cost of living this year. Across the board, everybody got 3.8% starting July 1. By cost of living standard. Anything meritorious, it's. Gary mentioned would be, subject to you. Evaluations and thinking about all that.
Mhm.
Thanks for doing that, Matt.
Yeah, thank you. And
Dave,
Thanks,
thanks,
Dave,
Dave.
for, yep. All right, leading off from that, the employee performance review schedule, so we know. Carrie can't do Monday at 4.
See what, if they can do any later. How much time are we setting aside for each one of them?
15 minutes,
Oh, that's all?
that's,
Mhm.
because
Yep.
that woman's gonna be on at 5, so. Between me and the 3 road guys, you get us each for 15 minutes.
So we're starting right off with
Make
her.
sure- Make sure everybody composes their thoughts before.
All right, I'll see what I can do.
So let's just take 1 second and talk about that. We talked about it a little bit, or a lot, last year. This is new to the town of Coventry, kinda, right? We've stated as a select board, we want to annually have a formal review for the full-time employees that are responsible to us, Matt, town administrator, so that you can annually sit down as a group and have that discussion about performance. Same thing with the road foreman. And what we did last year is incorporated the workers also. We don't have to do that. That's nothing that, everybody's a little bit new around here, and so just to get everybody on the same sheet of music and understand the obligations, it seemed like it went well, but you don't have to do that. You could ask the foreman to do that himself, because he's the director for it. You could ask Matt if you wanted to do that with the foreman, and you wouldn't have to do that. Right now, Matt and I did talk about it a little bit, and then I kind of said, well, do it the same way and let everybody have one more swing at the bat and then think about it. If you want to keep doing it and then the group wants to keep doing it, then keep doing it.
Yep.
If you don't want to, then think about those other tiers and, I don't care one way or the other. I think that it was important to do a year ago because of all the moving parts we had, and
Yeah.
I think it's
I'm
probably a good
fine with it,
idea
yeah.
this year. And then.
Yeah.
See what happens. That makes sense?
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. So, we didn't wanna take up a whole bunch of time in this meeting, and then we had Florida.
Yeah.
And another one. Emergency.
No, we got.
No, we got that
he's
tonight.
Here tonight.
Oh, we're doing that tonight. Okay, well,
Yep. That originally we talked about.
I thought
night
that's
too,
what
and
you
we
did.
thought that was gonna be too much for that night.
Okay.
So we moved. Jeff
Tried to
this
keep
night.
up with him.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm, you guys wanna do that? You're all
Yeah, I
good
think
to
it's a
do it
good
the same
idea.
way?
Yeah, it is a good idea.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll figure out a time that works for everybody, I'll warn a meeting on Friday, so the day.
Thank you, man.
So
Okay,
the 4 to
next
5
up,
would
we
be
have
executive session.
the emergency management director.
Welcome.
So if you, back in March, I think it was, I got a letter here from Phil. our current emergency management director, Phil Marquette, who has done an amazing job for us, asked you guys to find him a replacement. And we got him.
It could be right there. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
What's your name again?
Jeffrey Wilson.
I'm sorry, Jeffrey.
Yep.
The letter looks very good. You have a lot of
Yeah.
knowledge.
Take 5 minutes and tell us about yourself.
I'm relatively new to the area. Moved here about 4 years ago with my family from the West Coast. I served in the Marine Corps for 6 years. Had a variety of roles. The most relevant to you guys would be emergency directing for the NEO tracking system when we first were implementing that in the Marine Corps in Eastern Europe. We were one of those deployments. So I coordinated multi-state evacuation drills, which is not something we probably end up using here, but a lot of the basic principles coordinate more local
Right.
efforts. More recently, when I was back in Oregon and Washington, for my church, anyone that knows Mormons, we really like emergency preparedness, our food storage, all that fun stuff. So we have emergency preparedness coordinators with most wards. So I served as that for my local church at the time, basically to make sure we had emergency supplies, had a communication plan for all church members to be able to get a head count within an hour. Just make sure everyone knew where people were, if there was anyone that was in need, and then other vulnerable community members in our local sphere of area that we interacted with. So I think that's mostly what's relevant to you guys.
Trainings.
I don't have any currently. I went through and looked up, Vermont has the certification that they want done. I was looking at starting that next week and start knocking out the online portions of that.
Yeah.
FEMA also provides substantial free education on that one as well.
Yeah.
That I'd be wanting to go through. And
Yeah.
hit up again as well.
I think they do open up to some in-person training too, right, Phil? But the bulk of that is online now, but they do bring folks, where are they headed now, Waterbury or?
Waterbury is out there, DM is out of Waterbury.
Yeah.
Our certificate, like, when they first started it, it was in person, but like you said, I think they do a lot of it online now. And
Yeah.
probably some.
ICS and all that stuff.
ICS, stuff.
Yeah.
The certification he's speaking of is the state has the emergency management certification that you go through ICS and then other particular things that the state has.
Okay.
Exercise and free
Yeah.
courses in
Yeah.
person, the rest is online.
I got through some of it, I hadn't gotten through all of it. It's a little bit, but. Definitely do it.
So this is a town of, an appointed town official. You understand that, how that works? It's not an employee.
I understand the basic concept of it, the dynamics of town governance is a little bit different out here, so it's still been getting used to how things work out here in Vermont versus,
Well, think about it like you're gonna do a whole bunch of work for free.
yeah. I like basically the volunteer type position.
Like these guys. So we get stipends. We provide a stipend.
You could show them the leaf salary sheet.
Yeah, we just approved it. I think it's $100. A little bit more than that. It's really not much, right? It's a civic duty.
Yeah.
It's a town official. That position, Phil's position, comes with an extraordinary amount of responsibility. And so it can get overwhelming. I always, right, Phil? I always sort of say, don't let it happen to you. You know, when Phil goes crazy, he does Phil things and comes back from it, and because it's a lot of stuff going on, and you can Phil's not going anywhere, right? Phil's staying in town and he's it is an amazing resource, many years. And so what questions do you guys have?
I've gotten to know Jeff over the last couple of years pretty well, not as a emergency management director. But I think he's smart, willing, and I think with Phil, I haven't wrapped my head around emergency management position, so it's always scary for somebody new after Phil's been so great at it. But I think Jeff will be great at it. And not that you're not the very best person here, but there's one out who stepped up. So,
You never know. Oh, boy. Gary?
No questions, everything, you know, what he said and the letter he sent and, yeah, everything looks really good. Thank you for
Yeah,
volunteering.
thanks. Yeah.
Thank you for applying.
Yeah, you guys are stuck with me. We're not moving anywhere. We found our slice of heaven up there on High Acres. And I have a vested interest in emergency preparedness for the area since my bridge is one of the first ones to wash out every time the floods happen, so.
Mhm.
Boom, 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 boom. So before we go into any of the formalities of that, if you were the selected candidate, I think we would want to go smooth. Not so fast, right? Matt, town administrator, been here a few years now, but about 20 in his mind. Phil the same. I think the three of you getting together over the course of a couple of months.
Yeah.
Away from us, stay away from us. Those two fellows, they have it they understand the town, they understand what we need. And I think if we were to spend that energy up front with them before you come in here and get, you know, going on whatever it is, that you'll have plenty of opportunity to be, you know, looking at things that still baffle me. And then these guys, they come to us and we scratch our heads out how Phil even does it. But I think that's the way to do it. And planning the steps, Phil, for the trainings, whether they're in person or whether they're over the internet, with a real plan, like looking at it and putting those things, it might like almost like preparing a 12-month stepped process of education and preparing also for the inevitable flood and those things. And not to put you on the spot, but you haven't changed your mind, right? You are staying here, Phil. Yeah. Good. So, you know, that's what I would say. So you got my vote, easily. I very much appreciate you coming in and stepping up, and you guys sounded like he had your vote.
Mhm.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
So let's, Phil? Wrap it up, Phil.
How do you want me
You could tell us not to.
No, I agree with you. I think it's either great candidate and the experience on there to be able to, or the knowledge and experience that can be molded into. That's
Yeah.
better than any other.
Yeah.
Non-existent candidate.
Yeah. I was trying to say it that way, but. But I tell you what, it was way better than I thought we were gonna get.
Yeah.
I think Matt was concerned I might have walked away since I initially asked him a couple months about it.
Well, I apologize, you called me and I'm going through some things, so I completely forgot about calling you.
All right, Matt, you good?
I'm good.
You've had more conversations than us probably, so.
We've Jeff and I have talked a couple times about it, and I'm pretty confident in him. I think he's gonna do a good job for us. He's motivated, enthusiastic.
Well, let's get some motion going.
There's actually one other thing I'd like to
Sure,
bring up.
sure.
Just since it's also a community base, I am on the VEC board for our district for that. So I don't think there should be any sources of conflict. I figured before we hold every votes, I should make sure that.
Phil's shaking his head no back there.
electric? Yeah. I don't think so.
Thank you very much for bringing that out, but yeah.
My opinion was it would just be better for communication since they're one of the ones we'd be working with anyways.
Right, yeah, no.
We're good.
Okay, yeah.
Motion, I'll motion to,
What's the question, how?
Oh, got another one.
Is he the new-
That was the question. Do that, the slow garden. Putting us both in that, is that the thought, leaving,
Say that again.
trying to think of how it would work at the state. Yeah, no, just go ahead. I don't care, I'll still be here no matter what.
you'll have the title and you're just
That's what
gonna
I was,
stick around.
that's what I was going with, where,
Yeah.
you could almost, you wanted to make me the coordinator for a little while, then we're both officially in those positions.
You're both coordinators? Is that what you're
Well,
saying?
so there's
No.
emergency management director,
Director.
then the director also has the ability to appoint a coordinator assistant.
You okay with him as your assistant?
I just think the way to
Yes,
we have it, because just
that you're both.
Okay,
Scott's wheels turn, so
I hadn't
I hadn't thought about it either.
processed through that.
we can do it the other way. You can do it the other way for a period of time.
Yeah, however, it
Matter, either one of you.
I think we should make the transition. Let you three do what you want to do in the next couple of months, and then come back to us with that plan, and that would be part of that plan.
Right.
And so if you wanted to take on that role,
right.
then he can appoint, if that's where you guys get. I'd rather really see you guys working together and figuring all of that stuff out, and then bringing those pieces of information.
Title won't matter.
To review.
Yeah.
So I think for right now, we should accept Phil's I think we need to accept Phil's
Resignation.
letter of resignation. Maybe we should do that individually
Yeah, do that first.
and then make a new appointment. And then you guys can go through the plan. Let's do that.
Okay. Motion to accept the emergency management director, Phil Marquette's letter of resignation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
One of a clarification, can you put the date on that, effective the one?
Yeah. we should. Effective, do I need to do a whole new motion?
I'd say
Whole nother motion?
Immediately.
effective
Effective
immediately.
immediately.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now we'll need a motion for.
Okay, motion to appoint Jeffrey Wilson as the new emergency management director, effective immediately, with Phil Marquette as his assistant.
Yeah, just as helping right now.
No,
They'll make that plan for us.
all right. Motion to appoint Jeffrey Wilson as the new emergency management director.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Dan.
Very good.
Got through it. Thank you
Thanks, guys.
very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jeff.
Appreciate it.
Next up, we have the Orleans County Sheriff's Department contract for Starting July 1st, 2025, they are saying that they will give us approximately 235 hours of service at $65 per hour. It will not exceed the amount we budgeted for at town meeting, which was $15,275, which was approved at town meeting.
No changes,
Yeah. Hourly went up.
but the contract standards
Standard,
is
yeah,
not,
yeah, same.
is not changed.
Was it 59 last year?
61. And 60. But the hours are the same and I mean, we budgeted a little bit more. I think we only budgeted 14 something last year. We moved it up to 15,275 this year, so.
Okay.
I'm fine with it.
And and the reason that you're putting that in front of us so quick is because it's the current,
This is the last meeting in June, our last,
the current contract is
yeah.
expiring.
Yeah, it's expiring.
Yep. Oh, you're gonna have to mow those.
You good with it? Motion to accept the Orleans County Sheriff's Department agreement,
Okay.
contract, thank you,
Mhm.
for 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Right,
Good. All right, we got some, what's that minutes in here for approval?
Point of order, Mr. Chair, if I may make a comment on the business.
Yeah, go for it.
So if you saw me laughing while Jeff was talking, there was a reason. So, you know, I'm a member of the Northeast Amateur Radio Club. And the last full weekend of June, so that's the 28th and 29th. The club is gonna be participating in an emergency communications field day at 3892 Downhill in Newport, actually, I think that's Derby. And the public is invited, you can actually see amateur radio operators and how we would communicate during times of disaster if other communications go down the tubes. And this is a nationwide thing. So if you, it's a 24-hour thing, so if you wanna come by, say hi, have a cold drink, or maybe, I don't know if there's gonna be coffee or not, I assume so.
And when is it?
It's the last fall weekend in June, and it's at 3892 Dowling Hill. 29, yeah. And actually, I think that's right in Derby. It's a Newport address, but I think it's in Derby.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
anybody who's down, and that's open to the public as well, anybody on the Zoom or anybody else in the meeting, it's not just for amateurs, it's not just for emergency officials, and like I said, you can see emergency communications and how we would perform during a disaster, like on 9/11
Mhm.
and like during the ice storm.
Nice.
excellent, thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
So,
Okay, you have a set of minutes there.
Very good, Gary.
My name's spelled wrong one place, but other than that, it's good.
Ah,
EERY. That's all.
Kiri?
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 Yes.
Those are June 2nd, right?
Yeah.
Very good.
Mhm.
Motion to accept the minutes for the select board meeting for the town of Coventry, Monday, June 2nd, 2025, with the correction. Carrie's name. All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Okay, there are no warrants tonight. We do have a decision to make on this. We've been invoiced for the plow truck that was approved for purchase at the 2024 town meeting.
is it done?
It's not done yet, but we've got an invoice. It's in Vermont now, and it's at someplace getting,
Charlie boys.
yeah, he's geared up to become part of Coventry's fleet. But the question is Do you want to pay that invoice out of the capital equipment reserve fund? Or the fiscal year 2025 highway fund?
So you don't have the balance of that.
I do not.
Yeah.
I don't have the balance of either one. All I know is there's enough money in both to pay for it.
Deb still with us?
Yep.
Deb, you still there?
I am. So the smartest choice would just take it from that reserve account because the money is there to start depleting that down. There's
Yeah.
175 in there.
How much?
175,000
So
in the account.
I think that's our discussions recently with where we're going, you know, with the number of these accounting issues is to get those. We haven't done that project yet, but I think Deb's right. So I would, which one is it?
It is the capital equipment reserve fund.
Makes sense to me. 175 and what's the bill?
148, 650.
And so then and then we're gonna get the body.
You're gonna get another bill probably
Yeah.
that same amount.
Yeah.
In hopefully October.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
All right, so
It's gonna be old time we get it.
I agree with Deb, and I think Matt's there too.
Yeah, and I think your treasurer's there too.
Mhm.
So tell them the name of the fund again.
Just make a motion, just make a motion.
Make a motion
Pay
to
that invoice out of the,
pay
capital
the
equipment
Charlie
reserve
Boys
fund.
invoice out of the capital equipment's reserve fund
Second,
For the amount of,
for the amount of $148,650.
second.
all in favor?
Aye.
We gotta sign.
Is that- I don't think so.
no, we do not.
No, Deb will take care of this.
All right, that's it.
And by the way, Scott,
Motion to adjourn.
that's from 2 p.m. to 2 p.m. by the way.
Oh, okay.
2 PM to 2 PM, Chris?
Yeah, prior to that will be set up. After that,
2 PM to what?
2 p.m., 24 hours.
That's the hour, okay.
Saturday,
Oh,
Saturday, Sunday.
Second.
2 to, okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned to the 6:11.
What have I missed?